You think you know what we're going to talk about.
But unfortunately, I fell down a damn rabbit hole and I've not gotten out yet.
Knife bros.
I literally Googled Sebastian Stan hands.
But just when you least expect it, we changed the game.
Well, yeah, because usually in astrology, they would partner up air signs with fire signs.
All right, you can huggle.
Time travel stories and...
At the end of the day, only one thing matters. We decide.
Well, we should make it a topic. Unfortunately, I didn't take German in school. I took Spanish and I don't remember any of it.
Three Fates Decide podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Three Fates Decide. My name is Mary and with my co-hosts Liz and Sam. Say hi, ladies.
Hi.
Hello. All right, so this week we are going to be talking about Bridgerton Season 2 on Netflix. All three of us are fans. We watched Season 1 and now we've all watched Season 2, so we're going to be talking a little bit about each episode, kind of giving... There will be spoilers, people. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Please turn off the podcast now if you have not seen Bridgerton Season 2 and you want to watch it and not be spoiled. If you do not leave now, you cannot blame us if it's spoiled for you because we have told you spoilers.
All right. So as a quick recap of the first season, Daphne Bridgerton gets married to the Duke of Hastings. There's a lot of drama because he didn't want children. She didn't know how to make children, so she just went with what he said. She found out that he basically was lying to her about why he wouldn't finish. Kind of like a rated R type thing, but
It kind of was
inside her, and she basically forced him to, and then they got into a fight because he didn't want a kid. Anyway, they all lived happily ever after at the end, basically, and Daphne got her child. So in season 2, her oldest brother, the Vicomte, has decided that he is ready to do his duty and get married, but he doesn't really want a love match or anything. He just wants a girl who would be a good viscountess, and she had to be pretty and smart, and he had a lot of standards to find his bride. And trouble ensues when a pair of sisters are in town.
Yep.
Yes.
And while he tries to go after the young one, I just can't help but want to be with the older sister, who hates him because she overheard all of his standards for a wife. Didn't want her sister to be involved with her, but as a young girl, brand new into the the season, a viscount is interested in her. Absolutely, the younger sister wanted to go with him. Who ends up with him? I bet you all can guess. I'm just saying. It's like every other romance novel ever.
Yeah, pretty much.
We knew it was coming. We all knew it was coming.
Yeah, we did.
No, I'm just starting to read the book, but from what I've heard, book in this season are very different.
Yeah.
The main premise of the story is there, but it's totally different, and apparently a lot of people were upset about how long it took for Anthony and Kate to finally get together, I guess. They thought they dragged it out a little too long.
Yeah.
Kind of got that. even I not reading the book, I was like, let's go. Come on. We know it's gonna happen. Let's go.
I know, right? Yeah. It has been a few years since I read the actual book. I should try to reread it again. Actually, this happened to be I don't know if I want to say was my second favorite, but it's definitely in like my top 3 out of the entire 8-book series that I liked the most. Incidentally, my personal favorite happens to be number 3, which is roughly the next season, maybe, which we'll get to later. But yeah, I can't. But yeah, they did change some things from the book. And I know it definitely split up people, the book readers, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing what they did. I get why they changed it, because I will admit the slow burn love triangle thing is like a classic romance, drama trope,
Yep.
which works plenty of times. But there were some things like they did that I'm like scratching my head, like why would you do it like this? Like this just adds unnecessary drama, to be honest. Like I don't understand why they actually had a wedding, or rather almost wedding. Um I mean that's just like public humiliation for everybody around.
Right? Like I felt so bad for all of that. Like that was just bad.
Yes. Yes. I did
You know
too.
what? Like it's so funny because I heard some people that thought that Edwina was like being too mean. Dude, she was a lot nicer than I would have been if I just
Yeah.
figured out that my fiance, who I'm about literally standing at the altar, is more interested in my oldest sister. Like
Mhm.
this would have been thrown. So
Exactly.
I thought I didn't blame her for treating them the way that she did. Ow, that had to hurt.
Yep.
I'd have been
Oh,
I'd have been just as mad as she was.
mhm. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, I mean it's like you had all this time to say something and you didn't. And it's like complete and total public humiliation, which is what like basically episode 7 was about. The fallout over
Mhm.
what happened. And as you could imagine, that is something that like I'm sure upsetted a lot of like in my case, fellow book readers, because it's like, why did you do that? You know, why
Right.
did you have them actually go through with like the ceremony, but then it gets disrupted because Edwina finally clued in on the fact that there's something going on between her fiance and her sister. I mean, that's like, you know, that's just weird to me. And spoiler alert, unfortunately, Sam, that did not happen in the book. Um,
It's okay.
yeah. Although you probably could have figured that one out by context.
Yes.
That was a huge change they did. In fact, it was never there was never an engagement between Anthony and Edwina in the book, because actually Edwina is, I mean, she's mostly the same between the TV show and the book, but she is slightly different in that she was more convinced um to agree to a courtship between her and Anthony. I mean, in the book, I mean, anybody who's listening who's read the book, maybe like you'll remember this better than I do, but I seem to recall she was open to a potential courtship, but she wasn't like emotionally committed
Mhm.
to it, because she recognizes that like, hey, he's a good catch, he's handsome, he's charming. Why not? You know,
Mhm.
it's just like, somebody setting you up on a blind date or something, like you're open-minded,
Right, and like
you'll
unfortunately, women back then, like you want the good catches, like whether or not they're handsome or whatever. Like you just got lucky
Right.
that Anthony is also a very good looking man.
Right.
But like that's you basically marry for money if you can.
Right. Right. But yeah, she wasn't really that committed to, Anthony, to being Mrs. Anthony Bridgerton or anything like that. If as I recall, she was actually pretty supportive of uh Kate and Anthony ending up together. Which is like a complete opposite of the show version. Until the very end. Yeah, which I'm sure like upset a lot of people who are book readers. Like the most out of all of it. I was happy they kept the Pall Mall thing. The sort of croquet game they were playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good. That was funny. Them smack talking each other. That's exactly a sibling thing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some smaller subplots, and obviously these are different than the book because technically in the books we don't know who Lady Whistledown is, but in the series we found out in the first season, and I'm guessing they did that because they didn't know how it was gonna go. That's the
Probably.
only thing that I could think of is like they didn't know if it was gonna be popular. So they were like, "Oh, let's just do it," because at least then if it's one season, surprise, you know? But it
Yeah.
turned into such a hit. Now you like ruined it, but whatever. So, but so and spoiler alert, Penelope is Lady Whistledown, and so her whole, trying to figure out how to send, uh, you know, the basically that her little like newspaper out without getting caught, and then her and Louise finds out basically that it's Penelope, and because she had been threatened by the queen, she stops being friends with Penelope because she's so mad at
Right.
her for being Lady Whistledown, which that made me sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember like I kind of got why they revealed to the audience at the end of season 1, but I just felt like it was kind of weird that they revealed it like that, not that they revealed it, but that like Eloise figured it out or stumbled
Hmm.
upon it rather in season 2 because again, spoiler alert, that most definitely did not happen. In fact, uh well, obviously they're going to change it for the show, so whatever. So this is only spoiling it if you're planning to read the books, but it's like, as I recall, Eloise doesn't even realize that Penelope is Lady Whistledown. In fact, they, as the reader, you don't even realize who Lady Whistledown is until book 4, which is the Penelope Colin book, actually. I remember reading it. I was like surprised when it was revealed to me, the reader, that oh my god, I'm reading. I go into it thinking like, oh, I'm gonna see how the resolution happens between Colin and Penelope with Penelope's old longtime crush on him,
Hmm.
and it's like I got shocked reading it like when they revealed that oh my god, she's Lady Whistledown, and it's like what is going and then I'm watching the show, I'm like, what? Why are you revealing all this now? So and the thing is that funny enough, again, spoiler alert, in the book, actually Penelope kind of outed herself by the end of book 4, because at that point Colin already figured it out that she was Lady Whistledown, and he was the one who was kind of helping her keep hiding it. And she finally decided, I'm going to out myself and quit the whole Gossip Girl Regency edition thing that I've been doing. And that turned out to be a slight setup to book 5, which is Eloise's romance story, because when she makes the public announcement that, like, it's me, her best friend is not there at the announcement because her friend did something, and then you find out what she did, the consequences of what she did in the next book. So yeah, I'm not going to spoil that part. So so that's why it's just bizarre to me that Eloise figured this out in the show.
Right. Well, and then like the way they kind of handled the whole Colin Penelope thing in this season makes people wonder, like, are they skipping book 3 and going straight to book 4 first? You know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
know.
Because like they're already kind of starting that drama, unless they're going to build it up through season 3.
Right.
They could.
Yeah.
Who knows what Shonda rhymes?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, there's a case to be made that they could switch which books they're doing. Or, what'd be kind of interesting is if they did both 3 and 4 simultaneously in one season and have them, like, basically be, 2 different storylines going at once.
There you go.
Hey, they could. I mean, granted, I haven't actually. I haven't even read the first book yet. That's the sad part. I have it. I just never. I have just haven't haven't had time to read it yet.
Right.
Thought the series was better than the first book.
Right.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to. They could do that because I don't know if they would. I don't know if they would want to put those two storylines together because obviously I don't know what happens in the third book. I'm assuming Benedict finds love or
Right.
something.
Yeah, it felt like in season 2 they feature Benedict slightly more as, like, the side, the subplot storyline. Which could be a way to set up him as being the main point of the next season. Because when you kind of think about it, in the first season, to a certain degree, Anthony was kind of like, a like the subplot,
I
him
think
and
Anthony was practically was almost in every scene, except for
right,
obviously certain scenes after she gets married. There obviously he wasn't there, but other than that, it's like he was always there somewhere, either in the background or right there. So
right. Although to be fair, he kind of had to be because he's basically the head of the family, and he's between him and their mother, they have to be like kind of like Daphne's like chaperones
right.
everywhere. So but in terms of, like, subplots in season 1, like he was kind of like the major one. So in a way you could sort of like interpret that as the setup for season 2, which they heavily implied that in the final episode. When he, like, made it like kind of official and, to his family that, like, I'm planning to properly look for a wife. Dun dun dun. Um but yeah, the way they ended season 2, it does feel like they're shifting it to Colin and Penelope, which I don't mind them, that storyline. Like, it would be nice for them to dive into that, but at the same time, as a reader, I would be disappointed if they don't do Benedict next, because that one is my favorite book.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
Or they'll start shooting soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's always fun about the show is some of the music they use.
I've been listening to the playlist on Spotify. It's amazing. It's
What,
absolutely
like
amazing.
oh, you mean like the orchestral versions?
Yeah, they made a playlist on Spotify. You can listen to both seasons.
That's cool.
Yeah. I do like that, they obviously like the thing I like about the show, and I was actually talking to my mom about this morning because like um is that yes, it's a period piece, but it's a very diverse cast, which with Shonda Rhimes, like that doesn't surprise me, but I love that because it's a modern take on period piece, So obviously, like back then, people of color would not be, who they are. But obviously
Right.
with this, they are. And music, the orchestral music, so while they're at, their dances and their balls and all that stuff, it's modern music played through an orchestra. It's just makes it 10 times more amazing with like stuff like that. I love that when it's a modern version of a period piece because it still represents the period piece. Obviously, like the costumes and the way that they do things is still true to the period for the most part, but everything else is modernized. So it's the mix of cultures, it's the modern music, to me, it just makes it just 10 times better than it would be if they just had it like an all white cast and whatever. So I do have to say, reading the Duke's description, I did have an actor in mind for it, but I was very okay with who they chose instead. But yeah,
And who did you have in mind for the Duke?
well, I'm glad you asked. Uh, Sebastian Stan. It's his everything. I mean, the brown hair, the blue eyes. It's him. It's freaking Bucky
Right.
Barnes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's Bucky Barnes.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I think like there is like a fanfic. I'm trying to
There's a
remember
bunch
where
of them. Yeah, a lot of people have been doing Bucky fanfics as Bridgerton. I'm like, there you go. There it is.
Yeah, I've seen a couple. It's actually kind of cute.
Yeah,
I'm like,
but like I
although
said,
I'm
I
not
was
surprised at
very
all.
happy. I was very happy with their choice because it's just beautiful.
I know, right?
Maggie Jean. Oh,
Uh-huh.
and obviously it's okay that he wasn't in this season. I know like that was kind of like a controversy before they started filming because they like wanted him in, but like he basically said like, listen, when I signed up for it, I was told it was one season. He made, he started getting other work and he's kind of blown up, I feel like now. Every time I turn, he has commercials, he has, movies that he's filming and all that stuff. Like,
Mhm.
you know, I get it. And technically, his character is not even in the book, I don't think.
He's like more like a glorified cameo because obviously in any like family events where like the whole family is expected to show up, that includes in-laws. So, things like a ball or something that the Bridgertons are hosting, presumably he would be showing up with Daphne. So in the book, he does show up in the background and he does like have maybe a few lines, but yeah. So it's like even if Reggae came back, he would be in essence um, a glorified cameo because kind of almost like the actress who plays Daphne because it's like this is about Kate and Anthony and well now Edwina. So it's like you're just there in the background when there's like a family party scene or something. So I guess like as a book
Right.
reader, I was like really getting kind of annoyed with how many people online were like, why aren't they bringing him back? And na 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 na. It's like, I guess it's because if you're not familiar with the books, you don't realize that each season, if it's supposed to be roughly corresponding to each book, then no, it wouldn't make any sense that, like, he would be in every episode necessarily. Like, the show is not about Simon and Daphne. It's about each of the Bridgertons finding love and happiness and happily ever after. So it's like, can you please stop?
Right. But that's just the way people are. They want to see who they want to see.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense, and I was okay that he wasn't in it. I mean, it would have been nice to have seen him, but
I
Right.
was okay with just watching Jonathan Bailey, another good-looking guy. He
Yeah.
he plays Anthony Bridgerton, the Viscount,
Uh-huh.
and he's
Yeah.
a very good-looking fella.
Yeah, so unfortunately we can only look because
Yes.
he's not he's not interested in any of us anyway.
Nope. I think he's engaged too.
Oh, is he? I didn't hear
I think
about that. Like,
so. I think him and his. I could totally be wrong, and I apologize if I am, but I could have sworn I heard that him and his partner, her boyfriend, got engaged. So,
yeah. I mean, we could always look that up later, but yeah, I did
birthday's
remember,
tomorrow.
like, yeah. But yeah, like I did kind of remember, like, mentions that, like, he was seeing somebody. But even if he wasn't seeing somebody, he wouldn't be interested in any of us anyway.
Correct.
Right.
So, but yeah, he did great. He did great.
He's going to be 34 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
Yes.
But yeah. I was, like, really happy reading, like, in general, that the second season did great in the fan reviews, basically. It was like, yes, people are gonna stop complaining about Reagan not being in the show. Like, it didn't ruin anything.
It's okay.
Okay, I'll stop complaining about that now.
Now I'm wondering, like, because obviously there is an issue with Netflix. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but they lost like a whole ton of money, like a bunch of like users and whatever overnight. I don't know what happened. So say Netflix does go under, because I think they're either going, either they're gonna go bankrupt or something. I don't know. I wonder who's gonna pick it up. Do you think like all of like their Netflix originals are gonna have to go somewhere? They're probably gonna sell them to like the highest bidder. So I wonder who would pick this up.
There's a part of me that kind of suspects it could be maybe Hulu.
Mm, that's true.
Um,
Hulu does like the more of this type of stuff.
yeah, because, like, it's not gritty enough for HBO. Or Stars, now that I think of it. I would think that, like, the alternative would be Hulu. I guess it could be for Amazon Prime, but I'm not sure about that one.
Mm.
Especially with, like, all the sex scenes that were in the first season. I'm just not sure
Dude.
if Prime would go for that.
Yeah.
Because we know, like, Hulu definitely has, like, shows that will include sex scenes and obviously some violence, but, yeah. But I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical that this situation with Netflix is going to be, like, a bigger thing in terms of, like, their finances. I mean, could be, but
People are calling
Um,
it the blockbuster of the streaming world.
yeah, I don't know. I'm a little
It'll
skeptical.
slowly fade out. We'll see. See
They
what
may
happens.
have to they may have to like change up who are the executives running the company because clearly some of the decisions being made, you know, in recent times are like probably questionable because that what's going on here.
As long as they don't raise my price again, I'll be fine. If they raise it again, though, and they just raised it, I'm out.
Yeah, related to that, like I heard Stranger Things like went like way over budget or something. Like they spent a ridiculous amount of money per episode for it, and it's like, okay, granted, I don't watch Stranger Things, but it's like,
I
what
couldn't
in the
get
world?
into it. I tried. I tried to watch the first season. I think I made it like through episode 3, and I was so confused. I had no idea. I haven't tried watching it since.
Right. So it's like I don't know what you guys are spending so much money that like you're spending more than freaking HBO is spending on like the upcoming Game of Thrones prequel. Like I literally just read an article recently where they were talking about how they actually spent less than 20 million per episode for this prequel series, and it's like you've got to be kidding me. Netflix, you're spending more money than a show that has CGI dragons and army
Say
battles.
there's a lot of CGI in Stranger Things. A lot.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, that's true too, but it's like it just feels weird somehow.
Yeah, I was into it, but I'm kind of like losing interest. Like it's just going on too long.
Which could be a
Um,
potential topic someday.
yeah, shows that should
Uh,
stop. Number one
yeah.
on the list, Grey's Anatomy.
Ugh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it needed to stop about what, 5 or 6 seasons ago?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, even more
'Cause
than that.
well,
8 or
Way more
yeah.
than
9 seasons ago.
that.
What season are we even on? Like what, 15 or
18, I
16?
think. 18 or
18?
19.
Oh geez. Yeah. No, it should have stopped around season 10 at the most.
So speaking of Shonda Rhimes and Shondaland,
Got it. Nixed it.
um,
Done.
yeah, um, yeah. So I overall like I did enjoy season 2 of Bridgerton, and I am eagerly waiting for season 3, and I am now really curious, like like are they gonna go with the book order, or are they switching things up, or are they merging? I mean, I don't know.
I'm waiting to see, and I hope, you know, hopefully no one will be disappointed. But for the cast, pretty much everyone from the first season, obviously minus Reggae, but everyone else is in it. And then obviously we have some new cast members. Simone Ashley plays Kate. She's absolutely gorgeous. I thought she did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Aretha, uh, oh my god, I am so sorry. Handron, I think is how you pronounce her name, played Edwina. And then Shelley Kahn played their mother, Mary.
Right. Well, I mean, like at least we know like Simone is coming back. Because I mean, like as Mrs.
Right.
Anthony Bridgerton, she's gonna pop up. I think Simone did confirm that like yeah, I'm contracted to come back. So
Yeah, I think they were smart now. If you're coming in, like, guess what? You're in the long haul.
Yeah. I don't think they want to go through that again with what happened with Reggae or Reggie.
yeah.
Or,
No, like I thought it was overall a really great season. I enjoyed it. I do agree with a lot of people. The slow burn just took way too long. It burned way too long. Way too long.
Mhm.
I mean, literally
Yeah.
up until the last episode. The end of the last
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, we get it. We get it.
Well, if it's any consolation, in the book, they do get married a lot earlier than the way they did it in the show, partially because there is no love triangle between Anthony and the two sisters. But the bit where Anthony finally accepts that I don't just have the hots for her, I really do love her. That is somewhat consistent in the show, that like it took him almost like the end of the story for him to like finally accept it, to get past his fear and paranoia about like, being in love with someone and like the crushing loss, which I am glad they kept in the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Um
And I totally understand like it how heartbroken like his mother was after his father passed away unexpectedly, and like the fear that he was going to do the same thing to his wife if he did a love match. Like I can't like I thought that was very well done.
yeah, that was a thing in the book. And the fact that like I was saying, the fact that he only kind of accepted, the truth of it, of like how he really feels towards the end, is more or less what happened in the book. But things were slightly different, the context. Which I will say, I do prefer the show, the the incident that led up to him realizing this. I mean, like her getting to the horse riding accident. I have to admit, if they had tried to do it the way they did it in the book, it would be, I don't know, kind of odd. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like, I'm not sure how that would go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one tiny thing I liked. They included Newton. They should have more Newton in it, though. Doggo.
Mhm.
That is pretty funny actually. I think the dog has a
Yeah.
good judge of character. He's growling at
Well,
Anthony.
well, that's the funny thing, is that actually, well, to be fair, it is kind of tricky trying to get a dog to be the same as like in the book exactly, but I think Newton was more of like one of those dogs where they're like, "Hi, you're new. How you doing?" And like just go up to pretty much everybody, kind of like that. Almost like a golden retriever, like always eager to like meet people. Thanks for listening, everyone. Catch us next time.
And see what we're going to talk about.
Because the three fates decide.